Hi, everybody. I'm Melanie, the Executive Director of the Pittsburgh Metropolitan Area Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Another role that I have is I'm actually on the RAD Advisory Board. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about what RAD is, what Radical Days are, how they work with the community, and a little bit about Shannon. Shannon, welcome.
Hi, thanks, Melanie. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited for you to be here. Shannon is the communications director over at RAD. So Shannon, let's start by why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this position?
Awesome. Yeah. I am originally from Utah, and I moved to Pittsburgh in 2019 and started working at RAD then. I have a background in theater and the performing arts. And so I went to grad school in Washington, D.C., and I got my master's in arts management. So I've sort of dabbled in both sides of the art world, the art making and the art managing. And so I met my partner through the theater world, and he lived here in Pittsburgh at the time, still does, brought me here. And so when I was looking for work in Pittsburgh, I was looking in the arts community and just kind of keeping an eye out on arts jobs. And my partner told me about this amazing organization here called RAD that funds the arts and parks and libraries and does such incredible work here in the community. And at the time they were hiring a communications director, and it ended up being a perfect fit. So I moved here in April and have been living here and loving it ever since April of 2019.
Hey, we lost a year. It could have been this April, you know? Where did it go?
This time.
That's so wonderful, though. And it's such a great fit. Welcome to Pittsburgh. I know you're a little bit in already, but it is so wonderful to have funding for the arts in our area. And RAD does so much of that. So how much does RAD put into the arts every year here in the city?
So RAD, our budget that we grant out to organizations is typically about $100 million a year, which is huge. It's a hugely impactful funding stream. That's divided up over a lot of different organizations. The libraries and the parks in the region take the lion's share of the funding. They are always free. They're always open to the public. So that's sort of the priority of RAD funding. And then arts and cultural organizations typically get around 14% of our budget. So any given year, depending on what the sales tax revenue is, that comes out to roughly $14 million for the arts, which is also very significant.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, $100 million going into education, arts, libraries. I mean, it is tremendous. The impact is so great. And actually, I wanted to share, that's why I wanted to be on the RAD advisory board. You know, everyone goes through these up and downs, you know, losses of jobs and things. And I was in that place at one time, and to be able to take my son to do all of the things that I could do when I was employed, and when, you know, when now I'm able to go and afford these things, I was still able to give my child access to those things because of RAD and because of what they do. So I even personally know that the community contribution is so great. But Shannon, from your perspective, can you tell us, why is it so important to fund these programs here in Pittsburgh?
Well, it's such a great question. And I think that something that I was really impressed by when I moved here was how many arts and cultural organizations exist here in the Pittsburgh region. There's just a wealth of so much to do and see and participate in. And I think a big part of that is because there is this funding stream through RAD that is a reliable public source of funding that really allows a lot of these organizations to do the work they do. Like you mentioned, because it is a public funded funding stream, we ask that all of the organizations that receive RAD funding offer free programming at certain times throughout the year, and that's what Radical Days is. And so we fund, you know, anywhere from usually over 100 different organizations. And so when we do put on Radical Days, we've got a lot of opportunity for people to go and experience all of these incredible organizations for free.
So tell me, where did the idea for Radical Days come from?
Yeah, well, it was before my time, before I came on to RAD, but it started in 2002. And it was at that time, I think, just one weekend. And there was this idea that, you know, the public is helping fund these organizations, and we should think of a way that we can give back and acknowledge the taxpayers in Allegheny County for their really significant contributions to all of these organizations. So Radical Days was born in 2002, and it has just grown to be bigger and better ever since then. And here we are in 2021, and we've got over 60 events to choose from this year, from September 9th through October 10th.
September 9th to October 10th. That is a big gap from just a weekend. 60 events. Wow. Okay. So tell me, what kinds of events are we talking about here? And again, I know the answer, but is there any charge for those who are watching?
Yes, I am very happy to say it is 100% free. And it really ranges anything from free admission to places like the Carnegie Museums, Phipps Botanical Garden, the National Aviary. A bunch of different organizations have free admission days, the Heinz History Center. And then we've got free performances. We've got City Theater Company that's running a show at Point Park University, and the entire run, every single performance is free. And so that happens September 10th through the 19th. We've got, we're actually kicking it off. We're kicking Radical Days off with our downtown cultural partners. So the Cultural Trust is presenting a 3-day festival called Lights On. It's sort of a welcome back to downtown. That's going to be September 9th through the 11th. And organizations participating in that range from the August Wilson African American Cultural Center, the Pittsburgh Public Theater, Pittsburgh Opera, Pittsburgh Ballet. All the amazing downtown cultural organizations are going to be doing outdoor performances. It's going to be a really fun weekend. And then, yeah, I probably could go into every single one of them, but we'd be here for like 5 hours. So you can go to radworkshere.org, and the full schedule is available on our website.
Radworkshere.org. I love that. Shannon, what is your favorite event that you've ever been to for Rad Days?
Oh, that's such a good question, and such a hard one to answer because they're all so amazing and they're all so different. I'm a big fan of the Mattress Factory, which is a very cool museum on the north side. If you haven't been, you should check it out. You should check it out for Radical Days because it's free. Their day is Sunday, September 19th. They have really, really cool exhibitions, things that you don't typically see, really interactive and just super cool. So I would definitely check them out. Speaking of the North Side, there's also going to be a day where all of the North Side assets, so these are places like the Andy Warhol Museum, Mattress Factory, the Children's Museum, the National Aviary, City of Asylum. They're doing a whole day of the North Side corridor where all of admission is going to be free. They've got special events and activities going on. And that is going to be, I'm just looking at my chart here. Have to scroll through all these amazing events. That's going to be Thursday, September 30th on the north side. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh, another one that was very cool. When I first moved here, my first Radical Days, I got to go see the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra play in Heinz Hall, and I'd never seen them or been in Heinz Hall. So that is a really special one. And Heinz Hall turns 50 this year. It's the 50th anniversary of Heinz Hall. Yay. So their October 5th concert is going to be free for Radical Days. So I really encourage people to check that out. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I said that they've been around that long in part due to RAD and the funding that RAD has provided. So I love hearing that. There are so many programs. I think people in Pittsburgh really have no idea the reach that this organization has. I think it's really tremendous. I can authentically say that RAD has touched everyone's lives in one way or another here in the Pittsburgh region, which is pretty tremendous.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. It's a really unique funding stream. Not a lot of regions or cities or counties have anything like it. And when you think about it, there's an additional 1% sales tax in Allegheny County, and that's where RAD revenue is generated from. So that comes out to 1 penny for every dollar you spend goes toward RAD. Half of that goes to the assets that we've been talking about, the libraries, parks, arts and culture organizations. The other half goes directly to Allegheny County and all of the municipalities. So they can use the money for public safety and roads and all the things. So even if you don't think, like, if you're not an arts person or you don't go to the library and you don't think that RAD is like touching your life, if you drive on a road or if, you take part in any sort of municipal funding that's in your neighborhood, that's RAD. So it really does touch everyone's lives here in the county, and it's pretty amazing.
The name could not be any more perfect. It is RAD, actually.
RAD.
So tell me, for Radical Days, we talked about all of these different events and all these great things at Heinz Hall here and there. Do people need to buy tickets ahead? How does that work?
I'm so glad you asked. So in a typical year, a lot of this stuff is just you would show up and enjoy, and it's going to be like that. But because of the pandemic, and we want to make sure that things are done as safely as possible, most organizations are requiring advanced ticket reservations. So it's still free. You just need to reserve your spot ahead of time. That's going to help with crowd mitigation and making sure that people aren't overwhelmed and that places aren't too crowded. And really, I think in the long run, it's going to enhance the experience anyway. It's easier to enjoy museums when you're not shoulder to shoulder with people. So be sure to visit each organization's website and learn about their policies that they have in place before you attend.
I love that. I think, especially with COVID and everything, just knowing that you guys are being mindful of safety as well. Now, what about things like masks and vaccination policies?
Yeah, that's a great question. Each organization has their own policies and procedures in place. So while most are, either requiring masks, some may have proof of vaccination, or proof of a negative COVID test. So it really depends on the organization. So it's very important that people visit the websites of each organization before attending the Radical Days event, just so they are aware and can go prepared and make the best decisions for themselves and their families. But yeah, I would say most at this point are requiring either masks, proof of vaccine, or a negative COVID test. So we want to keep everyone as safe as we can and hopefully soon get on the other side of this pandemic.
And I just want to reiterate, when you say that is not up to RAD. That is up to each individual organization and location. So, there's always political disagreements and things. RAD is just looking to make sure that everyone is safe and each individual place makes their own decision. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sorry if you can hear my little ones. They're laughing thinking about RAD days already,
Good.
But I wanted to talk to you also about the mission of RAD. I know we said what RAD does and all these amazing things in the community, but what is your mission?
So RAD really was created to be a source of support for regional assets, these places that improve our quality of life and that make Pittsburgh such a great place to live. Something that RAD really values is accessibility and inclusion. So we have specific grant programs that are designed to make our venues more accessible, to make sure that everyone feels welcome and safe at these organizations. It's really important to the RAD board and staff that everyone is able to participate in RAD funded events and RAD sponsored organizations. So I would say that, yeah, our mission and vision and values center around inclusivity and accessibility.
So let's dive into that a little bit more. So we talk about diversity, inclusion, equity. What do those things mean to you, and what does RAD do to prioritize those things?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Because we fund so many, such a variety of organizations with different missions of their own, we really prioritize that the organizations that receive RAD funding. We want to see what the diversity of their board and staff is, their audiences, who they're reaching. So we, for instance, right now are in our public hearing process, and that is where organizations that apply to receive RAD funding appear before our board and talk about their own missions and what work they're doing. And part of that process is to talk about the makeup of their board, staff, audiences, reaching. So it's a constant conversation. We're always checking in and being mindful of that. And especially on our own board and advisory board and staff, we have an incredible diverse group of people that help make our decisions and make sure that we're really reaching and representing and engaging with everyone in our communities.
I love that, Shannon. And I think that opening those doors, and especially all of these activities where kids can go and be exposed to things that they might not have otherwise, can really just open the doors to so much potential and awareness of the potential out there. So I know especially, underestimated communities are so grateful for this work. But on the other side, I want to ask, so what about newer organizations or nonprofits or places who just haven't had funding before, but do fit the RAD mission? What is the process like for application?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So for organizations that are interested in applying for RAD funding, I would recommend that they visit our website, radworkshere.org. We have a whole page on eligibility, so you just need to make sure that your organization fits our parameters. And if so, then you can reach out to our RAD staff. We have a page on our website also with our team. So you can reach out to one of our program officers. We just like to get to know a little about your organization, learn about what work you're doing, and then we can talk you through the application process, which we actually are just getting to the tail end of that. Like I mentioned, we're into public hearings right now. So once these are done, we will pass our budget for 2022 by the end of the year. And so then in 2022, our application season opens generally in May. And so people who want to apply for 2023 funding can start that process in May of next year.
That is awesome. So what kind of things? So people know, we have people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds who watch this. If someone is doing something in nonprofit, what are the type of organizations, people, programs that should be connecting with RAD?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we fund nonprofit organizations. So you have to be a 501c3. There are a few different eligibility requirements, but essentially it's nonprofits, the things that we are prohibited from funding, just, in the act that created RAD. We don't fund healthcare, specific education, like institutions. There are certain limits on like park size. If you're a park, you have to be over 200 acres, certain things like that. And then of course you have to be in Allegheny County.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at the website. I was like, I feel like there's something else, that there are just so many amazing aspects of RAD. And I love seeing it from, all the different angles, from the family who needed it, from the, advisory board member who is now going to be reviewing these applications, from the side of someone who wants the funding. Is there anything that you can think of that we haven't covered?
I would just say that I think everyone, like you mentioned earlier, everyone who lives in Allegheny County, whether they know it or not, is part of RAD. And I think it's such a source of pride for the people who live and work here to know that just by living and spending your money in Allegheny County, a portion of that is going to all of these incredible organizations that make Pittsburgh and the region such a vibrant place to live. And so I think that people should just be really proud that something like RAD exists here in our community and that we all play a part. It's a really pretty cool source of funding, and it really is tax dollars at work. It's the best use of tax, in my opinion.
Oh my goodness, Shannon, that is the best way to put it. I could not agree with you more. And it makes you feel better about, spending money. You know what? Maybe I should go to dinner now. I feel like I should contribute more.
Exactly. Go buy yourself something and you'll be helping RAD.
Oh, I love it. Well, how can people get more involved? What is the step that people can take to contribute, participate, just the general population?
Yeah, well, I would say that Radical Days is a great way to get started. So that, again, like we mentioned, begins September 9th. You can get all the information on our website, but also we will have pamphlets, brochures that have all of the information as well. They're going to be in all of the local libraries and in a bunch of the participating venues as well. So if you're out and about and you see a Radical Days brochure, be sure to grab that. It'll give you some great ideas of fun events to attend. And then I would also mention that if you're interested in how RAD works, all of our board meetings are open to the public and all of our hearings are open to the public. So between now and September 2nd, we have hearings, and because of the pandemic, we're doing them on Zoom. But anyone is free to tune in and hear about what these organizations are doing and the cases that they're making for their funding. So it's a really great way to learn more about RAD, to see how your tax dollars are working in our community. So I would really encourage people to engage that way if they're interested.
And I would like to add to that anyone who's ever wanted to work in nonprofit, if you have a nonprofit, if you have ideas about how to help the community, this is a great way to get introduced to that world, see how things work. There are so many different aspects. I think anyone would be interested in attending, truly, maybe not kids, but maybe adults.
Exactly.
So where can people find that, Shannon?
Yeah, so that also is on our website, radworkshere.org. And we have a calendar tab, and it has a drop down so you can see our board meetings, our public hearings, and then, of course, Radical Days events. They all live there on that calendar. And also, our website, we just launched it this past year. So it's new and improved, and there is a ton of good information on there. You can see all of our financial information. You can see all of the organizations that we fund. You can read more about the municipal side of the funding. So there's really a wealth of knowledge at radworkshere.org if you want to learn more.
I love it, Shannon. Well, thank you so much. As a reminder to everybody, Radical Days is from September 9th until October 10th. And there is a whole calendar of, Shannon said, 60 events that are free. You need to make sure you sign up ahead of time because of COVID. Make sure that you know what requirements they have, whether it be masks or vaccination cards or negative tests, whatever it may be. This year, you cannot just show up, so please make sure you do your homework, but I hope that you all benefit from this. Shannon talked a little bit about some of the other things that you can do to engage with RAD and just be a better part of your community, spread diversity, awareness, inclusion, the arts. There's so many great things. So Shannon, thank you for being here. Thank you for what you do every day. Thank you for including me as well. I'm honored to be a part of it, and just thank you all around.
Oh, thank you so much, Melanie. We are so honored to have you on our advisory board and so appreciate your support and your help in getting the word out about RAD and the work we do. And of course, Radical Days. We hope that people are able to participate and have a great time and stay safe while doing so.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, we'll talk to you soon, Shannon.
All right. Thank you so much.
And thank all of you guys for tuning in again to our Latino Pittsburgh Digital Speaker Series. Really do make sure you check out RAD Days. And even if you're not going to attend, make sure to spread the word with your friends, organizations, schools. Anyone can benefit from these free events. So the Latino Pittsburgh Digital Speaker Series is something that we've been doing for, oh my goodness, a year and a half now. But if you guys are looking to become speakers, please make sure that you send us an email to chamber@pmahcc.org. So the Latino Pittsburgh Digital Speaker Series is an initiative of the Pittsburgh Metropolitan Area Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Its goals are to share relevant information, inspire growth, and foster opportunity. Speakers and workshops include community leaders and members, as well as other individuals and programs that have a positive impact on not only the Hispanic community, but the Pittsburgh region at large. I hope to see you guys at Rad Days. Thanks for tuning in.